All right, West Virginia fans, Q Country Roads. It's been a long, long, long time since we sang Country Roads as West Virginia fans. To talk about the win today, I have my good friend and buddy, Amit Batra. Amit, how are we doing on this fine Saturday?
Feeling great, man. It's a huge win, so just feeling pumped. Finally have something to to be excited about a little bit.
How bad did this team need this win, Amit?
Yeah, no, huge. I mean, first ranked win in quite a while, and just just something to be excited on, and for the future, right? Just something. Obviously, Rich Rod looking for that signature win. We finally got it after the pick game, and super pumped going into now. Hopefully, get another one pretty soon.
Yeah, I put a clip out this morning for my preview show, and I felt like this game was winnable
Yeah.
only because if you looked at Houston's schedule, they didn't play the toughest schedule. It actually reminded me a lot of the West Virginia schedule 2 years ago, where we beat a bunch of teams that we should have beaten and kind of got lucky with a little bit with the schedule. So I felt like this was a winnable game for the West Virginia Mountaineers, and I put a poll out today, and you actually voted on that poll,
I know.
and I said, does West Virginia have a chance to win this game? Amit said no.
I didn't think so, but hey, look, I mean, after the TCU game, I mean, there was definitely some, optimism, and um, hey, look, they got the win, and that's what matters. I mean, just Scotty, I think was great, and then obviously you're able to run the ball effectively as well with getting over 200 yards rushing. So huge win, and I'm super pumped for it.
Yeah, you weren't the only person. So I think it was like 70% of people said that no. And I was actually on my personal account, I put yes. So it was like me and I think it was like Mountaineer Headlines, an Instagram account that follows the team. So no one else. Or shout out Matt Tita. You know Matt Tita.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
he put yes too. So shout out to him. So what we're gonna do in this episode is we're gonna break down the win versus Houston. We have a lot to talk about. My phone has been ringing off the hook, and that's the way it's been the last few games. It's either ringing off the hook from fans complaining and our buddies complaining, or people excited. So I like it a lot better when the game's excited. Before we get into it, it was a cool moment. My kids, they were playing in the other room. I said, guys, get ready to sing Country Roads because it's been a while. So that was a cool moment. Definitely excited for that. But let's get into the game. So before we do that, if you're a West Virginia fan, please remember to like and subscribe to JerseyEER. Especially after a win, we'd like to have you on board. And let's get into the game. All right. So, Amit, if I would have told you before the game started this week that West Virginia was going to put up 45 points versus this Houston team, what would you have told me?
No way. Honestly, like, I mean, just like how the offense has been. I mean, there's been, obviously some optimism after that TCU game, even though it was a loss, right? But there was a couple weeks where we were like, man, can we even get 7 points or 14 points or something like that? But to get 40, I mean, now you're seeing that the offense is actually coming alive, finally, right? And Scotty's, did a great job today. Obviously, we were able to run the ball, and no turnovers, right? On the offensive side of the ball, which is huge, right? So he seems like he's settling in. Scotty is, and it's nice that there's some optimism as far as the future at quarterback.
A few comments. Coop, who's a huge fan. Hi guys, and then he said, "In Rod we trust." Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be back on the Rich Rod train, Coop, after this one. I compared. I had a video out this week called Trust Virginia, and it was breaking down the money situation at West Virginia and how stressful it's been for fans. And I said, part of the problem is that the fan base is so split on Rich Rodriguez, it almost feels like it's been political. And a lot of fans have been like, I told you this was a terrible hire. But at least for today, there is a sign that this thing is heading in the right direction. So that's great. Big Dan T said, Hail WVU. Yeah, we played that fight song today after they won as well. My kids love that one as well. They know my kids are 4 and 2, and they know all the lyrics to that. So that was great. Let's get back into the stats. So West Virginia puts up 403 total yards today, and they passed for 157, and they rushed for 246 yards, which is crazy.
Huge.
And one of my biggest storylines coming into the game, Amit, was can the West Virginia running game find itself? Because last week it felt like our passing game found itself, right? Scotty Fox threw for over 300 yards. And then today, from the jump, they go out and they get 246 rushing yards. Amit, what are your thoughts on the team with that number today?
I mean, it's amazing, right? Between Hubbard, Bowers, and what Fox did. Obviously Fox broke one, broke a pretty big one for a touchdown, and Hubbard was great. So, it's super exciting. I mean, to get that number and finally get some offense going. Fun to see.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to believe, honestly, if we're going to be transparent, that Houston only had 82 yards rushing.
Yeah,
It seemed like they really gashed us in this game. There's going to be we're going to get into a lot here. There's going to be a longer episode because I took a lot of notes from this game as I was watching it, and it felt like they had more than 82 yards rushing. But one thing I want to point out is the penalties.
yeah.
Listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I think that the refs do a good job. But I don't know. Was Houston kind of getting some home cooking or some Big 12 love because they know they're in a race right now for a top spot? I mean, some of those penalties were kind of Bush League. I mean, Houston was only called for 2 penalties for 15 yards. West Virginia was called 8 for 80. What are your thoughts on that, Mitt?
I mean, some of those PI calls felt like I was like, man, what's going on here? But
There was 3 of them. I mean, the one I think was Israel Boyce. He
yeah,
literally went for the ball. He literally went for the ball to try to intercept it, made a play on the ball, and they called pass interference. There was another one on Michael Coates Jr. I mean, Rich Rod was about to lose his mind on the sideline, and it just wasn't consistent both ways. There was times that Cam Vaughn, you could see him getting frustrated with what they were doing with him. I don't think it was consistent at all. And even like towards the end of the game, it was like they were kind of wishy-washy if they wanted to give us a first down when they were moving the chains. And then on the punt, on the muff punt, right, where it hit their foot, it was like for a second they were like trying to debate this. I'm like, there's nothing to debate. Give us the first down. It's our ball. The game is over.
yeah.
So I don't know. I felt like the refs were not great today at all. Any other thoughts on that, Amit?
No, I mean, I agree. There were definitely some questionable calls, but hey, you got the win, so that's what matters.
Coop said, "Heck of a catch by King Vaughn."
Yeah, man.
Listen, we gotta retain him. I talked about that this week on the show. We need to do everything we can to retain Cam Vaughn because he's been the most consistent playmaker we've had on offense. Houston has a history of losing when they let other team run the ball good, and that call was BS. Says Coop. Coop, you're awesome. Thank you for keep commenting. We really do appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about some other stats here. Pretty even in first downs. Third downs, pretty even. Fourth downs, it's kind of hard to believe, too, that Houston was only 2 for 2 on fourth downs because 2 of them came on the same drive. There was a time where West Virginia had a chance to put the game away, and Houston had 2 fourth downs that West Virginia could not get off the field. Amit, did you remember watching that sequence happen on that drive?
Yeah. Man, but hey, it's all good. I mean, it was surprising though. Yeah.
Yeah, and then average yards for completion and time of possession was pretty even. It's kind of funny. West Virginia wants to go so fast, but when we have the lead, Rich Rodriguez is very smart. Once we had the lead up by 10 in that fourth quarter, we were snapping the ball with like 8 seconds to go, 7 seconds to go, which was good for there. Let's see, 4 turnovers. I think that was the biggest change of the game, right?
Sure.
I mean, you have the Jordan Scruggs interception for a touchdown that Wegman just kind of floated up there. The muff punt. A few times it felt like Wegman had a tough time controlling the ball out of his hand.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that house call was huge, man. I mean, that was tremendous. I mean, getting obviously winning the turnover battle is something that we need to do. And then obviously the other pick was pretty nice as well. And then you get a couple fumbles, right? So West Virginia, I mean, did a great job as far as making timely plays and plays that definitely impacted the game.
That one pick was sick. It
Yeah,
bounced off of
yeah,
what Coates' foot and then into
right.
Derek Carter's hands.
In his
And I
hands,
remember my dad was over watching the game, and I'm like, "What happened?" And I like it would happen so quick. It almost reminds you of the Beanie Bishop interception versus UCF a few 2 years ago. So yeah, let's look at some individual stats, Amit. All right, so let's look at the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Fox. Amit, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What do you think, Scotty Fox? Is he the quarterback for the future for the Mountaineers?
I mean, if he keeps playing like this, I think there's definitely an argument, right? I mean, we were talking the other week, oh, should we go in the portal? And the the answer at that time was like, yeah, absolutely, right? Because we didn't know if we had anybody at quarterback who's capable of making plays. So, I mean, definitely, he seems like he's getting comfortable, right? And he's experience helps, right? So it's the ultimate comfort. So, I mean, if he continues to play like this, hey, maybe he is the starting quarterback next year. Or I mean, hey, you still might look in the portal, who knows? But he was great today. Obviously, both making some plays in the air as well as getting some stuff going on the ground.
Yeah, Coop says he's the quarterback of the future. I said I've been hyping him up. I was kind of late to the party. There's some other influencers from West Virginia that were hyping up in the offseason, but the flashes that we saw in the Robert Morris game and then the BYU game when he came in late and made some plays, I'm like, all right, this is his time to get a start. I was worried about after the UCF game. I'm like, man, my short that I put out is going to look a little rough. But then, he did some really good things last week, threw for over 300 yards. And the command of the offense that he had today was impressive. Amit, you know who Scotty Fox kind of reminds me of?
Who's that?
What do you think about Jackson Dart with the blonde hair, the running ability, the way he sparked the team? Is there any? What do you think about that?
Maybe,
Anything?
yeah, maybe. But I mean, I think one thing is big. He's just not turning the ball over, right? You can't have obviously, in that pick game, he had a couple of turnovers, and I mean, it's his first time, right? So maybe it's just some jitters and stuff like that. But I think yeah, it's huge when you're managing the game, and you're not making some plays that are going to cost the team. So if he continues to play like this, yeah, maybe I think there is an absolute argument that hey, he's the guy for the future.
Yeah, so Silas said, "Big win, let's go Mountaineers." Appreciate you, Silas. Yeah, he's shown some flashes. I think there's still 3 big games out there for him.
Sure. Yeah.
This could be a huge last month of the season if he can continue this momentum. Scotty Fox, maybe he is a starting quarterback next year, right? I think he opened up a lot of conversations last week, and people were kind of pump the brakes, pump the brakes. Well, you put up 45 points against a really good Houston team with a Bush League, not a great offensive line.
Yeah.
You're down to your 4th or 5th string running back. So if you can figure out the offensive line, maybe get another receiver to pair with Cam Vaughn, this kid could be pretty scary, man. True freshman. This kid was playing high school football a year ago. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Let's talk about Dior Hubbard, man. 29 carries, 108 yards, and a touchdown. They actually said at halftime he hit his season high at halftime. What are your thoughts about Dior Hubbard?
Yeah, man, he was effective, and obviously, we talked about the numbers already, but getting 100 plus yards out of him is huge. And then with Bowers and what Fox was able to do, it's just nice to see a semblance of offense. And we talked about how are we gonna do how are we gonna run the ball after Jaheim and then Edwards, and it was tough, right? I mean, we're battling injuries and everything like that. Who's gonna be a guy that kind of emerges and steps up, and to see Hubbard have that type of game today is huge.
Yeah, I actually made a note when I was watching the game. We scored 2 touchdowns in our first 2 drives, and it was because we ran the ball effectively.
Yeah.
And that's what a Rich Rodriguez offense should look like. If you're running the ball effectively, this is what it should look like because it opens up everything. When we're not running the ball and we're going 3 and out all the time and you're trying to go fast, you're going to see games like UCF. So what we saw today is hopefully what we saw for the future. I also thought Sincere Bowers did some decent things today.
Yeah.
9 carries for 65 yards, averaged 7.2 yards a carry and a touchdown. Sincere Bowers are super impressive as well. All right, let's get the receiving stats. Amit Rodney Gallagher, 5 catches, 53 yards. Got him involved. Jeffrey Weimer had a nice game, 3 catches, 67 yards. Cam Vaughn, which is it's hard to believe. Cam Vaughn only had 1 catch today.
It was a
But
big one
boy,
though. Yeah.
that catch he had. I mean, I actually tweeted out, when the connections that Fox has to Vaughn is a thing of beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, we've all seen what Cam's been able to do this year, right? He's kind of been obviously our number one guy at receiver. But then, you have guys like, yeah, Weimer and, Rodney stepping up today, making some plays. So, it's nice to see some offense coming alive a little bit. And he obviously, Scotty's getting comfortable with his guys more and more each week, which is a huge plus. And obviously, you do have another winnable game coming up now, obviously, with Colorado as well. So it's super, super exciting.
I got a few comments, and these are funny. I'm going to get to all these. Uh, Coop said 6'7", question. So if anyone's been living under a rock, you've been following this. I'm a fourth grade teacher. Okay. So I've been dealing with this 6'7" thing for a while. And my kid is 4, Jack, my oldest one. And he has been saying, Dad, do your students say 6'7"? So it's been following everybody. I want to get to Kevin Varney's comment. Jamori Robinson. You know what? That's a great call. I tweeted about him this week, and I actually mentioned him on the show and used sound from Rich Rod. Jamori Robinson going into this game had 2 tackles, and he actually was not in the game plan last week. They said his
Yeah.
preparation was so poor, they sat him out. Admit, Jamori Robinson tonight was finally making plays for the Mountaineers. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been waiting for it, right? We've been waiting for that game where he was kind of going to be a breakout. I mean, he was probably the most hyped player, right, on the defensive side of the ball, coming into the season. But then, I mean, you had also Fred Perry. I mean, I don't know how many tackles he finished with, but it felt like it was like 12 or 13 or something like that. But he had a pretty big game as well.
That sack he had on the quarterback. First off, I'm glad they didn't call him for a face mask. It looked close, but that sack on Connor Wegman that he had,
Yeah,
Fred Perry, and I've mentioned this a few times. Fred Perry is going to go down as one of my favorite West Virginia Mountaineers because of the grit that he played with. It almost feels like a Charles Sims situation where we wasted a talented player for a year, and it's a shame we don't have Fred Perry for more.
yeah.
Absolutely love that pick, Fred Perry. Let's see if any other comments roll in. Jamori finally did something. Yeah, Coop, I kind of called Jamori out this week, and I'm not one to call players out because, I think it's kind of weird as someone in their 30s to call out some young guys. But at the same time, Jamori Robinson is getting paid a lot of money and was a guy that was the most hyped going into the season and did not do anything. It seemed like a waste of money. But today, he finally made his presence known. He made a lot of quarterback pressures, and it was good to see. You can see his teammates were excited for him too, right? When he made the plays, his teammates were excited for him. All right, let's get into some Houston stats real quick. All right, so Connor Wegman, 25 for 35, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 incompletions. He had a few fumbles as well. I mean, what was your thoughts on Wegman, a former 5-star coming over from Texas A&M?
I mean, obviously he did, find his guys, and he was able to make some plays, but obviously throwing 2 picks, and they were costly picks, right? Obviously the house call. So I mean, we were able to kind of, I think, pressure him, obviously, and then also get some turnovers. So I think the defense did enough, obviously to make some plays and to help us win.
Yeah, Wegman, he looked there was times where he looked amazing, and
Yeah,
there was times where he looked rattled, especially after we got after him. And Jed Drenning actually said before the game that, that's the biggest difference with Wegman. When the pocket is clean, he looks really good. But when you get his clock going, he can look really rough. And we saw that today. Let's go to Connors, man. The running back, number 44, coming over from Rice. That kid was pretty dynamic, making some one-handed catches and gave himself a shot. What are your thoughts on Connors and seeing him from Houston today?
yeah, no, I was impressed with him. Obviously, like you said, he was making a lot of plays, and but the defense, like I said, I think they did enough. Obviously, they were kind of, they've been questionable as well. But yeah, getting turnovers and then making, obviously, forcing that pressure. I was, I was happy with their performance overall, at least to get the win.
Coop said Freddie, nah, Carl Joseph
Yeah, yeah, it's
Jr.
very possible.
I was saying, he reminds me a lot of Carl Joseph. I'm not
Plays
sure
a
if he,
lot like him. Yeah,
yeah, with the hard edge and the way he plays. There are some good defenders we've had. Rasul Douglas is pretty good. Obviously, a different player didn't hit you as hard as that, but yeah, I think that's a fair comparison. Like I
yeah,
said, I don't think Carl Joseph was a first round pick after tearing his ACL, which is crazy. People forget about that. Carl Joseph tearing his ACL and still going first round. So, that was super impressive. Amari Thomas, dude, that dude was a legit. 10 catches for 99 yards, and he had 3 touchdowns.
yeah,
So it kind of showed you we're a little weak in our secondary, especially with our ball skills. There's a
for
few
sure.
times they were kind of picking on our secondary a little bit. And then Tanner Kaziel, 6'7" tight end, probably their best offensive playmaker. He's going to be playing on Sundays. Mitt, what are your thoughts on those guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they were effective, but yeah, our secondary did look kind of spotty at times. But hey, look, you get the win, and you did give up some plays. You give obviously a lot of points as well, but they did enough, and I was happy to just get the win.
Kevin Varney had another comment. We're going to give up some chunk plays for so
Yeah,
many turnovers, but I'll take it. Yeah, we did give up a lot of chunk plays, and we're going to get to my notes real quick, and then we'll kind of head out of here. We've been on for 20 minutes already. I want to get to all that stuff, and we're going to talk about that, Kevin, because there was a lot of chunk plays in this game. All right, man, let's take off the graphics and let's just talk some ball and go over the notes, and then we'll get to some comments and kind of end this thing. All right, overall, so it was a great opening for West Virginia. They effectively ran the ball. Believe it or not, this was the first lead since the Pitt game, and the
yeah,
first lead since the this is the first lead in a Big 12 game. I mean, isn't that hard to believe? Even on a season, you would think you get a field goal, go up by 3. It's the first time we've had a lead since the Pitt game, since we watched this
yeah.
game together
I
6 weeks
know.
ago.
I know. I mean, it's kind of been a rough stretch. Obviously, I mean, the TCU game was competitive. It was close, right? But some of those games were just, I mean, you just weren't in them, right? But hey, look, finally get a win in the Big 12, beat a ranked team for the first time in a long time, right? So hey, look, there's reason for optimism. There's reason to be excited, and we'll take it all day.
Scotty Fox to Cam Von Depot, a thing of beauty. We kind of discussed
Yeah,
that. It
yeah,
does seem like these two have a lot of chemistry, and I think that's why you need to prioritize bringing both of them back. And especially if you get Jaheim White next year to run the rock, plus you have Cam Vaughn, Scotty Fox, Jaden Bray comes back, maybe you get another receiver to pair them with. We have some things to work with. We have some glimmers of hope going into next season and things to talk
yeah,
about, which is what we're looking for. All right, let's talk about some negatives. Poor tackling.
yeah.
Amit, what were your thoughts on some of the tackling that we saw, some arm tackles, and that's what really led them to the open field plays for them?
Yeah, no, I think missed tackles have kind of been, a common theme. It seems like this year, right? It's been something that we've addressed, and it's definitely something that needs to be addressed moving forward as well, right? Because you're going to keep seeing some dynamic guys, right? In the Big 12, and obviously, Texas Tech, Arizona State, some tough teams coming up too. So definitely need to address that. It's kind of like we mentioned, it's been something that's been happening. So hopefully, they do address it moving forward.
You know what? Today felt like an old Big 12 shootout. It's been
Yeah,
a
right.
while
It's
since
been it's
we
been a
were.
while. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
It,
Yeah,
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
mean, a few weeks ago we were having a tough time even scoring,
Yeah,
a touchdown. So now
touchdown.
that
Yeah,
we're scoring 45, it's hard to believe this is the same West Virginia team.
yeah,
There was a few times we couldn't get a push with 1 yard to go, but ultimately that's okay.
yeah,
We talked about Dior Hubbard, nice interception. Talked about that. Kate Hensley had a
yeah.
nice.
Big, nice field goal. What was that, 48 yards or something like that? Yeah,
Yeah, it was. Well, his season high I think was 47. I think it was like a 50 something,
yeah. It
and
was, it was close. Yeah,
yeah, so that made it good. All right, so let's talk about this. I think there's a lack of athleticism at the linebacker position for West Virginia. Is that a fair assessment, or am I being too hard?
no, I would agree with that. I think it's one of. It seems like a weaker weaker position at the time. We talked about the secondary being a little bit weak. Obviously giving up some plays. So yeah, I would agree with that.
Coop said Oliver Schraub needs to be punter of the year. You know what's funny, Coop? I don't. Did we? How many times do we see Oliver Schraub today? Usually we see
Yeah.
him every game. I don't remember seeing Oliver Schraub too much today at all. Let's see. Tykees Crawford. Let's talk about a negative. There was a drive where Tykees Crawford on the right side of the line did not block anyone for 2 plays. I mean, he's been pretty brutal. Any thoughts on Crawford? I know he's had a rough time, tough go at it as a West Virginia Mountaineer.
Yeah, no, it seems like I mean the O line. I mean, I don't know. There's still some definitely some holes there for sure. But hey, look, you still were able to run the ball, which was big, right? And obviously you were able to make some plays in the air. So we'll take it. We'll take it. But definitely, yeah. I think the O line still has some work to do.
They'll be hitting the portal, and they have a big guy. If you've been following it, Kevin Brown,
Yeah,
who's a Penn State decommit. His dad played at West Virginia as a legacy. He's one of the top offensive tackles in the entire country. Went on an official visit at West Virginia this week. I mean, he would be an instant starter for West Virginia.
yeah,
Corey McIntyre had a sack, which was nice.
yep.
Jordan Scruggs, the interception touchdown. I want to talk about that.
Huge. Huge. I mean, was it 80 yards? I mean, made a great play, right? And obviously to win, we need that, right? From our defense. We need to get turnovers. And it felt like there was a couple weeks where we just couldn't get anything as far as turnovers and things like that. So I mean, huge. I mean, those are momentum building plays right there, right? And they give your team a lot of confidence. So very, very cool to see.
I absolutely love Scruggs as a player. I think he's a
Yeah.
guy that has put his head down and quietly done some really good things and has still kept the same energy even though the team is losing. So to see him get a pick six today was absolutely awesome to see. I absolutely love Scruggs as a player. He's had a crazy journey through college football, going from South Alabama to here. And even before then, he's really worked his way up the ladder. So to see him get that opportunity today was great. All right, second page of notes on that Scruggs interception. And there was a few times where it seemed like Wegman was like floating the ball up and
Yeah.
kind of let it hang. Did you see the same things that I was seeing
Yeah,
there?
yeah, absolutely. I definitely noticed that. It was kind of weird, but I did notice that.
Houston was crushing us up the middle a few times running the ball. It was glaring a few times where they were going right up the gut and getting 4 to 5, 6 yards of carry. I know that's what Houston usually does, but that's what Houston did. We talked about West Virginia's inability to get the field. We talked about Sincere Bowers already.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about this. I want to talk about you to this because you're a Giants fan and you know how I feel about the tush push. How was the tush push and assisting a runner penalty any different? Did you see that play on the call I meant today?
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of just over the Twitch push, to be honest. Like after last week with the Giants, I'm just over that.
So if anyone that doesn't know this, me and Amit are huge New York Giants fans because we live in New Jersey, and that's how it should be if you live in New Jersey, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Kayvon Thibodeau stripped Jalen Hurts, and it should have been the Giants' ball.
Yeah.
And then you see this week, and there was a great play. I think it was by Donovan Haslam. He took either Bowers or Hubbard and literally carried him over the line to get the first down, and that was a penalty. And I'm thinking, how is this anything different than
Yeah.
the same things we see on Sundays over and over again when they just push the guy for a first down? It just seemed like another ridiculous call. I'm sure they called it right, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm over the tush push
Yeah.
sure as well.
Yeah.
All right, Hubbard. Let's talk about Hubbard real quick one more time. Dude, that touchdown running at the end of the game, the cuts that he was making going up, Chris Anderson, who's a very respected media guy, said, don't want to say it, but he kind of looked like Tavon Austin on those cuts.
Yeah,
What
I
do you
mean,
think of
that might be a stretch, maybe at this time, but I mean, Tavon is I don't know, I don't know if you can compare him, but
those?
yeah, but I mean, hey,
For one
look,
play, Amit, for one play. That's the
yeah,
equivalent
for
to
one
saying that.
play, absolutely. But hey, finally got that guy that kind of emerged, in the backfield now, and I'm excited to see what he can do moving forward. And obviously, like we've talked about the run game already to get 200 plus yards from multiple guys contributing, right? Today, huge. Excited to see it moving forward, and yeah, build on it.
Dude, how about that run? Speaking of rushing yards, how about Scotty Fox's run on fourth down? They
Yeah,
spread everybody out and they called a QB draw, and he went untouched to the end zone. That was amazing too. I think that's where that's where I get excited about Scotty Fox because
yeah,
with Nico, it was like, all right, like he's a good quarterback, but does he really fit in this offense where like Scotty Fox, he can run the ball and show an
yeah.
explosive run for the season. It kind of looks like he fits in this offense. And when you saw that run, it was like, man, this is the potential that this offense has. It was really good. Before we get out of here, we're almost done. I really liked the decision at the end of the game to go for it on 4th and 2 with 2:15 left. So West Virginia was up by 10. They could have either gone for the field goal and gone up 13 points, or they could have just went for it and got it at the end of the game. I like the decision. You know what? They're already deep in that territory.
Go for it.
What does being up by 13 really do for you, except for losing by 1? Let's admit, did Rich Rodriguez make the right call there?
Yeah, I think just win the game, man. That's kind of what my mentality was, right? Just finish this thing off. And yeah, I mean, I love it. I don't even think that's like an aggressive play. I think it's just you're in that area, right? And just finish the game, close it out, and that's what my mentality was there.
Absolutely. All right, so let's talk about this, and then we'll get out of here. Signature win, yes or no?
Absolutely, absolutely, man. I mean, I think we've been waiting for a win like this for quite a while. I mean, first ranked win. I think it's Texas was the last ranked win, if I'm not mistaken, like a while back with Greer. It could be. I don't know. It's been a long time. I know
So
that.
it depends on how you look at it. If you look at teams that ended the season, that might have been. But that
Yeah,
Virginia Tech game that you were at,
yeah,
technically
yeah, yeah,
Virginia Tech was ranked in that game
yeah, yeah,
because they
yeah,
beat North Carolina the week before. We have Browns and Beers says fantastic win. Scotty played the game he needed to.
yeah,
Yeah, man, we've been talking about him for 30 minutes. Like I said, I think he's making a case now with each start, and I think Scotty Fox has gotten more comfortable as the season has gone on, and you're seeing the confidence go with him. So it was an absolutely great win for him. If he continues to play like this, he's going to make some noise and have a big conversation in the offseason of what we should do in the offseason with the quarterback. I
yeah.
still think they're going to have to go get some, but what type of quarterback do you bring in if Fox keeps playing like this? So thank you for the comment. We really appreciate that. Yeah, it was a signature win. From my 2 cents, this was a massive win to get this team in the right direction, right? It's been really hard to do this podcast, if I'm being completely honest. Doing the podcast at this time has been difficult. October has really slowed down as far as views and subscribers, so it's been tough. But this win, and not even just this win, it's the TCU game last week, and we have something to build on. If they
Build
can
on, yeah.
continue this into Colorado next week and get a win against Colorado, and then Arizona State's quarterback's out for the season, and then you just take your shot at Texas Tech at the end. You never see what happened. To that, ISU 2021 was the last ranked win, I believe. Good call. That was actually on Halloween weekend too. I remember Jared Dagey with the pumpkin. Do you remember? There's this reporter named Shane Sparks. So if you're a West Virginia wrestling fan, or if you're a wrestling fan of that forever, there's this guy who works for the Big Ten Network. His name's Shane Sparks, and he was a reporter and does the Big Ten wrestling. But randomly, he must have got freelance to do ESPN Plus, and he he called the game. I was interviewing Daggy there, which was pretty cool. So if anyone's a wrestling fan, by the way, tonight on Flow Wrestling, Ty Waters is ranked number 6 in the country. He's going against a guy from Stanford in New Jersey tonight, Amit, right down the street from you in Rutgers. They're having an all-star wrestling match. So that's pretty cool to see a West Virginia guy in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Last thing, and Coop, I'm glad you asked this. You said this because this is the last question I have to Amit before we get off of here. 6-6 make a bowl. Amit, what is your thoughts on the expectations? I'm not saying we're going to make a bowl, but what are your expectations for the rest of the season?
I mean, I think obviously Colorado is 100% winnable. Like that's no doubt about that. And then I mean Arizona State I think is possible. Yeah, it's possible to win as well now. Honestly, I mean for one, I think you're just excited to see some offense going. You finally right. And yeah, there are some winnable games. Like if we can win out, I mean. We'll see. Texas Tech is still going to be a major challenge, no doubt. Um, but hey, look, I think there's definitely a win or two left on the schedule now, and you're seeing some offense, and there's stuff to be excited about, right? It's been a difficult run these past several weeks, but hey, we got that signature win, and now it's time to build on it.
Browns and Beers said, just play competitive
Yeah,
football the way I look at it. And I agree. I don't think the bowl game, it's still going to be tough. So
yeah,
I agree. If you can give me more Saturdays like this and less Saturdays like UCF and some of the other games that we've been seeing, I'll be happy. And I think I'll have plenty of talk about on the podcast.
yeah.
Coop said, what WTF is wrestling? So Coop, just a quick on that one. We have a kid named Ty Waters who was an All-American as a true freshman. He got injured last year. He's ranked 5th in the country, and he's wrestling in an all-star match tonight. West Virginia wrestling is actually on the uprise. So I know West Virginia is not a huge state, but definitely if you are ever into college wrestling, check out our team. Coop still says shock the nation and make a bowl. Coop, I think we'd all sign up for that, buddy. I mean, I think we would. If we made a bowl, that'd probably be like the lead up to that bowl would be amazing because we would all be so hyped for it. I don't even care if it was literally called the toilet bowl. I would be super
It'd be a
excited.
great story. I mean, considering where we were, I mean, it'd be a huge story for us.
And there's like weird things that happen. Remember in years past, they didn't have enough eligible teams to play a bowl game. So if you get to
Yeah,
5 and 7,
like I think Rutgers made a bowl, and like they were one of those teams that was like 5 wins or whatever, and they made a bowl or something.
and I think Rutgers won. I think
Yeah.
Rutgers won that game.
Yeah.
Real quick before we get off of it, speaking of Rutgers, I think they got smoked by Illinois today.
Illinois. Yep.
Is the Greg Schiano era over where you are? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. Like it just like for their expectations, I think he might just be safe. To be honest, I don't know. Like I mean, they're not going to ever beat like Ohio State or. But I mean, I think they have Maryland and Penn State coming up, so they still have a chance to make a bowl. I don't know, but maybe. But I would honestly be surprised, to be honest.
It's probably not a good season to fire a coach with the coaching carousel. This offseason is going to be nuts. But all the
Yeah.
jobs that are open, and there's still probably a few left. Yes, he said Scotty interview just came out. Yeah, Coop, I'm going to get off of here in the next few minutes and check out all the post game stuff, and we'll do another show tomorrow, just kind of recapping it in more detail. And Coop said he's a Stanford fan now. Yeah, they play Pitt. What time is that game? Does anyone know what time the Pitt game is tonight? I know. Last things, Miami lost today. Miami lost to SMU. Did you catch the end of that game?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a rough one for them. That's no doubt.
I saw C.J. Donaldson scored a touchdown today for Ohio
Yeah.
State versus Penn State.
Ohio State's dead, man. They're I think they're top. They're number one by a mile. Like,
the Indiana Ohio State Big Ten championship game
yeah.
is gonna be sick. All right, man. I think that's all we got. I'm looking at the scores right now. Virginia's beating California. How about Virginia? Ranked 15th in the country. That's kind of hard to believe. It's like it's not like it's basketball. Coop said it's the Pitt game's on right now. It's 14-10 Pitt right now. All right. So last thing about this one before we get off, I know I've been saying that for a while. Is it kind of good if Pitt wins because it's like we beat them, so it's good. I know we always root against them. Like I can't stand their fan base, especially on Twitter. So I'm always gonna root for them to lose. But I guess it's a silver lining if they do keep winning. It's more impressive that we beat them this year. ESP, as you guys all know. Amit, that's all I got. We talked on here for nearly 40 minutes. Any last comments before we get out of here?
Yeah, man, just a big win. Finally getting that signature win. Big for Rich Rod, big for the team, big for our offense. I mean, definitely some things to be excited about. Obviously with another winnable game coming up for us now. So, yeah, huge win, and let's go Mountaineers.
All right, last one for you, Amit. Who wins the World Series tonight? Blue Jays or Dodgers?
Ooh. You know what? I'm just gonna go with the Dodgers because I just based on where they're just built for this time of year, and they win when they need to. So I mean, I wouldn't bet against them. And Otani is the best player in the world. So
Last one for Coop, I promise this is the last one. I was forgetting the words of Country Roads. Amit, did you have a new house? You bought a new house. Congratulations to you up in New Jersey.
thank you.
Did you blare Country Roads today when you guys won? Was that blared in the house?
My neighbors are gonna hear it. They're gonna they're gonna learn Country Roads, and no doubt.
I might play it. I might even play it again after I get out of here, bro.
Yeah.
Hey man, it's been fun. I appreciate you.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
basketball season I think starts Tuesday for West Virginia.
Yep.
St. Mary's coming up, so that should be fun. Hopefully we can talk more about some West Virginia football. You're a guest of the show. You can come on whenever you want. I really appreciate it, man. It's been fun. I like talking to you much more after a win than a loss. I can tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, let's hope to get another. But excited for basketball here too, as well. Like, I mean, I think the team has potential. So it's exciting time to be a Mountaineer fan.
I can't believe that just came out of an exciting
Yeah,
time to be a
it will. Hey, you take it.
See
Right?
what winning can do. You see what winning can do. It's an exciting
I know
time
it
to be a
just
Mountaineer
it changes everything, right?
My mood is a million times better. I actually
100%.
want to watch the games now. It's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys. If you haven't yet and you're new to the show, like and subscribe to the show. Tell a friend. We really appreciate it, man. I know we're some Jersey boys, but we have some good takes on the West Virginia Mountaineers. We love you guys. Thank you. Have a good rest of your night. Enjoy the games. Let's go Mountaineers. We'll talk to you guys next time.